Is Emma Stone an alien? It may be up to your own perception. I just saw the movie Bugonia, and here's my honest review. I enjoyed the movie. It was a new concept. It was fairly interesting, and just from seeing the trailers, I was excited to go see this movie, and I was very interested to see how they would cultivate an audience with this concept and with there basically being like three characters on screen for the majority of the movie. And it seemed like there was one plot point, but it was executed well, I think. I mean, I'll get into the plot a little bit. So here's my spoiler warning. It follows two guys who kidnap this celebrity businesswoman, and they believe that she's an alien. So there is this older cousin, Teddy, and younger cousin, Dawn. Teddy is kind of spearheading this whole operation. He's convincing his younger cousin um, that this is right, that this is rational, that she's an alien, that she needs to be kidnapped because her kind, Andromedons is what they call them in the movie, invaded Earth long ago, and they are the root of all evil. Basically, they are what is wrong with humanity. Um, Diseases, corrupt businessmen and women, banks, finance, everything that is wrong is because of this species. So he is in the right for wanting to kidnap this lady, and basically he wants her to contact her mothership and the emperor and remove themselves from Earth. So that's his mindset. That's where he got his information from, or he got his information from some outside source that he kind of alluded to, that he doesn't get his news from the news or on television or whatever. He gets it from who knows. He has these like newspapers. He probably goes online, and that's part of the problem. So this movie is like one big like social construct in my opinion, of kind of groupthink and mind pollution and media poison. So whether he is right or wrong about Emma Stone being an alien, it gets towards the end of the movie that she is more humane than he is because he has completely lost it. He ends up killing a guy. Shout out Dave. I just finished watching Tires on Netflix, starring Shane Gillis, and Dave. He's one of the managers there. He was in this show, or he was in this movie. So honorable mention to Dave. He was the cop in this movie that got murked by Teddy because he knew too much. So Dave, I think his name was Casey in the movie. He should have minded his own business because for some reason he couldn't mind his own business. Anyways, that is besides the point. So yeah, so they kidnap Emma. She is doing a fairly good job at convincing the whole audience that she is a human being. So whether at this point during like halfway through the movie, if we know she is or not, you want to think she's not. And then she starts lying, saying that she is, but it's like, okay, that's she's bluffing, obviously, or it's like a double bluff to where she is an alien, but she's saying that she's not, but she's saying that she is. Um, I had the thought in the back of my mind the whole time that she was an alien, and I got that based off of one part in the trailer where she was like, Teddy was accusing her, oh, I know who you are, and then she goes, I know who you are too, Teddy. And then he gets all angry. So I'm like, for some reason that made me think that she could be an alien. And I was like, what if this movie is like, super sci-fi and fantastical, and then it's completely normal, and then she ends up being an alien, and that seems as though that's what happens in this movie. Um, this movie was very like one dimensional, or it was like three dimensional disguised as like a one dimensional cube, if that makes any sense. Um, so basically, let's get to the end of the movie. She goes into this. She brings Teddy back to her office, and she has this calculator, and she's like, hey, get into the closet and I will send you to my ship. At this point, the downfall of Teddy is just horrendous. You find out that he's kind of insane. He lost his mind, same thing, and he's just completely irrational. He ends up injecting antifreeze into his mom's IV and ends up killing her, and then just jumps out the window and just leaves. Because Emma ended up convincing him that that was a cure, and he's just so blinded by all of this media that he consumed about Andromedons that he isn't even thinking straight. So he goes into this closet thinking that he's going to be teleported to the mothership, and then he also has a bomb strapped to his chest. For some reason, he thinks that was so smart. When he gets into the closet, she counts to three. He literally explodes. That whole thing happens. She leaves. The ambulance comes. She gets out of the ambulance. She runs. And this is when it could be up to your interpretation, or at least that's what a lot of people are thinking. I took it literal, and maybe it was supposed to be kind of like comedic or irony. So she ends up getting in the closet and she ends up going up to the ship, and then you see that she is an alien, at least that's so we thought, and she's with her kind and she's speaking in their language, and basically they decide to terminate all of Earth. And then the last 3 minutes of the movie is them, or it's kind of like humans, like they all turned off. All humans are dead. They're on the floor, and everyone just dropped where they were at. So it's chaos. You know, planes are crashing, boats are crashing, cars are crashing. People are, in pools and beaches, and everyone's just done. And I mean, it was a pretty cool, um, like ending scenes of the movie, just to see all these kind of like the mannequin challenge, but everyone's on the floor, or everyone's planking. That's kind of how it felt. But overall, the movie was shot pretty well. I enjoyed a lot of the scenes. It was funny at some points. It was, what's that word? It was maybe a little bit of a, not a thriller. There was a lot of like anticipation during the movie, but I know the genre was comedy sci-fi, which why I also thought that she could be an alien. So 2 hour movie. I was cultivated the whole time, even though there was like three characters. Um, Jesse Plemons did a great job. Aiden Delbez is Dawn, great job as well. And then Emma Stone, she always kills it with her acting, so it was cool to see that. Um, yeah, great scenes. Let's rate this movie. So here is the map. Odyssey is basically the best ever. That movie has to be perfect, and I would rarely ever use that. Voyage being an amazing movie. And then an errand, I don't shouldn't really use it either. That means that movie was trash. Like I didn't like it shouldn't even have that title as cinema, basically. So I'm gonna rate this movie a quest. And here's what happened. I feel like I was on an episode of Is It Cake? So I'm picking up this apple. It's cake, but it's an apple. And when I bite into it, it's not cake, it's an onion. So what I thought was a two-layered apple cake, it was actually an onion. And you go a little deeper. But it's one-dimensional, but it's also three-dimensional, like I said. So overall, it was a pretty enjoyable movie, and I recommend to go see it.